Ellis, I guess first, just talk about kind of your thoughts on the defense and how you guys played.
Well, I thought we played hard, and obviously when you make 5 stops in the last 5 possessions, really 5 punts and a stop at the end of the game, you got to feel like you're doing something right. But we continue to have these trash yardage plays, and it's, a couple of times it was a missed assignment, one time it was a missed tackle. The other time, quite frankly, I think it was great execution by Mississippi State. Caught us in a bad defense, and executed extremely well. We prepared for both quarterbacks, so it wasn't that we weren't prepared for Prescott, but we had to split our time. And frankly, had we been able to work more on that style of quarterback, I think we'd have been a little bit more sound, trying to keep him caged up a little bit better. But it's sort of been like the first 2 games. There are a lot of things we've got to get better at, a lot of things we've got to clean up. It's easier to coach them hard when you win. Some of the things are being repeated, and that's the only frustration. Some of it was just the new formations and things that they did that we had to get adjusted to. But really, again, in the overall feeling of it, just real proud of the way they finished the game.
What were the adjustments you just made after halftime to kind of clear out leveraging you quite a bit during the first half?
Well, the main thing is we, got them aware of the formations. And we were talking about them as we were going through series, but sometimes you have a quick series, you can't get them over there and clean something up. There were probably about 3 formations we saw that we had not seen. And when those happen, if they execute correctly on the other side, they're going to probably have a shot to have a successful play. There were a couple of formations that we worked on that we just did not handle well, and our players were not playing right. So we had to get those kind of straightened up, and then we probably would be more aggressive second half once we got comfortable with what they were doing, formations and players were a little more clear. We played a little bit more zero coverage and played a little bit tighter stuff up in the box.
How much did it help having Chris Frost out there as far as getting that aggressiveness, especially at linebacker?
Helped a little bit. I don't think Chris had about 1 or 2 tackles. It was helpful in the fact that Jake had to go 40-something snaps the first half. And I had moved Anthony Swain over and gotten him reps during practice and would have used him in an emergency, but he had not had enough time to really get comfortable back at Mike. And when we had some good drives, and I knew Jake wasn't too fatigued, just left him in there. But he needed a blow. I mean, a lot of his issues were just fatigue. And so it was good to get Chris back, obviously, for that reason. But Jake played as well as Chris did overall, had more tackles, more production, and really fit the run pretty good. I thought we played better up front the second half. And some of our interior guys really got after it and played a lot better.
Ellis, what are your thoughts on essentially the 4th quarter streak you got going on? I mean, really, obviously you kind of got shredded a lot during the first 3, but when it came time to settle in, they did that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really been kind of a weird, somebody, I think it's Mark Twain, said there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. And I'm starting to think that way because, we're sitting up there in the top 3 or 4 in scoring defense, but we're way at the bottom in total defense. And it goes back to those trash yards. We're making some really dumb mistakes, but then our guys are really playing well under some pressure situation. I don't know, the 4th quarter thing, I think, to me, credit Coach Malzahn. I think he's put a confidence and attitude in these guys, and they determined they're going to play through adversity and finish ball games. Is something they had a problem doing. That's all I can put my finger on. We didn't do anything that much different scheme-wise. We maybe played it a little bit better. I did say, we were a little more aggressive with our calls in the second half once our kids got settled down on some of the formations. But, that's important, but it's also important to start the game well. And we've not done that 2 out of 3 times. And then we've had our times where we kind of, we get in these tailspins and then sooner or later pull back out of it. But we're going to have to be a lot more consistent if we're going to win down the stretch.
You got Dee and Justin back this week. What do you see out of each of them in their debuts this season?
When Justin came on the field, he's probably had a total during the week of about 45 plays at will linebacker when you really total it up. And he made some mistakes just having not played the position. But the first 5 plays he's on the field, he makes 3 tackles and 1 tackle for a loss. And some guys just have an instinct for making plays. And so it's my job to get him schooled up and better each week and better each day. And he's going to play a lot. He may start. I'm going to see who has the best practices this week. his foot's irritating him a little bit, Cass's knee is irritating him a little bit, so it's probably a good situation for us that they are both, able to rotate with each other. Same thing with Chris and Jake. Every time Chris makes a real move to take over, he has something to the issue like the ejection, the ejection, or something of that nature. And not only did he miss a half of football, you got to remember, I could not rep him a lot in practice because I had to have somebody else ready to go. So I had to give Swain a lot of those practice reps. So he didn't make as much progress this week as he should have. He had some mistakes. So I'm ready for a situation where our two deep, our rotation in that spot settles down, and we can get some consistency in it.
So is Justin moving over to weak side now, or is he?
I've got a will linebacker. Garrett, you talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, he's a will linebacker.
So Robinson is solidified the starting star.
He's a star and doing a good job. I think he played better the week before. Certainly played better the first game, but he had a good solid game, but made some mistakes the other day. The move has also been in the confidence of Brandon King. He's really coming along pretty well at the star position. We feel comfortable about him going on the field as a backup to the reason.
So with Garrett and Cass, you just kind of rotate them at weak side depending on what you need?
Yeah, it's a competition, see who the starter is and who the backup is. I don't know, my experience having coached in this conference, I've had a couple of guys, and I think I've been at 17 years, I don't know. But I've had some guys that were too good to take off the field, and I've had some guys that were too bad to let them stay on the field. I feel like right now, linebacker group is solid. They're playing hard. They're all making enough plays. I trust them on the field, but they're all making enough mistakes. I don't think anybody's just come out and stated, hey, I'm number one player, and I'm going to play 65 plays, and the other guy's going to play 10. We're just not there yet. So I'm trying to see who has the best week of practice, who I think really is most prepped up to play, and go with that.
How is Justin taking the move? Only because in spring he certainly was that breakout player. He really seemed to love playing at the star position and found a home. How did he take the shift?
He's been good. I think he really enjoyed playing it the other night. It could work us to a situation where we could play our first and 10s and third and 10s with the same guys on the field too. Because if you'll go back, we were going to play him and Parisi in the dime package. And when we got him hurt, we had to start moving Holsey up there. And what it's created is a depth problem for us. It's the deep safety positions and the corner positions. And if Justin can keep improving, he could stay out there and play the dime linebacker as a will linebacker. And that will be a plus for us too. But, we're just precariously thin in the perimeter right now. And, thank goodness last night we didn't have to get into our depth too much.
Do you think Chris Davis will be back in time for LSU?
I hope so. I don't have any knowledge one way or the other. It irritated him a little bit the other night, and we felt more safe about not pressing the issue. It could have hurt it worse. So we'll have to see how he feels this week.
Ellis, did you see kind of some of the yardage stats that was put up in the SEC, the offensive stuff? And what are your thoughts on seeing,
Well, I don't know. There's so many really good dual threat quarterbacks coming out right now in our conference, and there've been some good ones in the past, but I don't know if there's been as many. So, it's going to be a challenge. Ole Miss is really playing extremely well. I've rolled some film on them, and I've seen them a little bit on TV. Obviously, Texas A&M is extremely explosive, very good, and they've got balance. They're not one-dimensional. They're running the ball and throwing it well. And LSU, of course, is a whole different type of animal. They're going to pound you, but Mettenberger's throwing the ball so much better. He is throwing some strikes that he used to overthrow or underthrow, and really throwing the ball much more on time and much more accurately. We've still got a long way to go and some real big challenges ahead of us. This guy that we just played against, so Prescott, I think, certainly gave us a good practice that we survived on a dual threat quarterback. He's a good player, and I think with more experience, but he's going to be dynamic.
Couple more.
Ellis, what'd you see out of-
Everybody played particularly well on defense Saturday night.
I don't think anybody had what you'd call an SEC player of the game type deal. We were very pleased with some of the play of a lot of guys, but nobody just had an astounding performance.
Ellis, how different does LSU's offense look now with Cam Cameron as offensive coordinator? Do you see much difference on film?
It's in a little bit different way of, I haven't seen them run the toss power yet, that downhill power they run, they're handing it off. There are a couple of things they've done, but I do see a lot of improvement in the throwing accuracy and timing of the quarterback, and I'm sure he certainly deserves a lot of credit for that.
You mentioned the D-line and the improvement that showed in the second half. How important are they going to be Saturday to kind of set the tone against a team like LSU?
It's going to be huge. It's going to be a box game. It's going to be some helmets that get kind of messed up. Dana's going to have a lot of working on his hands, getting all that paint off the helmets. But it's gonna be different. You know, we haven't played anybody with this type of style this year. And, you know, they're gonna be in 22 personnel, 23 personnel, 21 personnel, and they spread it out too. They're skilled receivers as good as anybody in the country. And they get them isolated out there with all that power football. So it's gonna be a challenge, and it's a total change of complexion from what we've been dealing with the three previous opponents.
That was with the line, you had several times on third down, you had 3 down linemen, you had Ladarius as a standing guy. Was that merely for this opponent, or was that a package that you're looking to run?
We take it every week. We call it a rover. He moves around to set up different twists, and then on certain formations, he drops in the middle right in there to take away things. One of the screens they ran, a little middle screen, where he dropping right there in the middle, and he threw the screen right in front of 3 linebackers. And you know, those are the type of things I'm talking about. We couldn't have been in any better situation. We had some defenses that we were in a bind, but we had some where we were just in perfect position to execute. That's a 4-man rush most of the time, him moving around, setting up twists by being a penetrator and so forth.
Did I see you dropping Montravius Adams? Does he drop occasionally, or?
That was a blitz we run where the 2 tackles pop out late in case they're running any kind of underneath screens
Okay.
or whatever, because we bring it almost, you know, it looks like a 7-man pressure.
Yeah.
And we're really dropping a couple linemen out late.
Are you feeling like you're starting to develop those pass rushes now that you have D back? Do you have the group of pass rushes that you want on those 3rd and long?
I don't know if we're there yet. We certainly, with him coming back, you could notice it. I mean, he was obviously a little better on the edge than some of these guys. Some of our younger guys have the physical ability and have really done some impressive things, but they don't have the knowledge right now, and they're sometimes getting themselves in trouble with inside twists and moves where they're supposed to be caging. But D, obviously, he gives us the experience and that edge capability. What we're settling in on now, we're trying to get to the point where we really feel like we've got the best 4 and a couple of guys that rotate in.
Ellis, what did Elijah Daniel give you playing inside on Saturday?
He's got that quick twitch, and it goes back to what we were just talking about. If we put our very, very best 4 pass rushers, he's probably one of the best inside guys. He's physical enough to play one-on-one with the guards we got to play against, but he's quick enough and fast enough and explosive enough to run the twists and get outside and control the quarterback and other things that our big tackles sometimes struggle with.
Could he become more of an inside guy than an outside guy?
Definitely on 3rd down. I think, you know, into the future, we just have to see. You know, I think right now he's still a defensive end, but, you know, if he gets much, much bigger and stronger, he could be a dynamic 3 technique.